For today's easy sailboat cooking recipe, I'm going to make Spam and eggs, a fantastic breakfast or lunch. For this recipe, all we need are 5 eggs, an onion, garlic, apple, a spice, and Spam. This recipe takes 15 to 20 minutes, probably more like 15 minutes to make, so it's super easy and delicious. So the first thing I'm going to do is just prepare the ingredients. I'm just going to slice up this onion. This recipe is for 2 people, so I'm only going to be using half of an onion. Onions are the best, but they're also the worst. The only thing you need to make this is a pan. So before I add any of the ingredients, I first put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Okay, so I've sliced the onions and I'm just going to add them to the pan. The next thing we're going to add is the most important ingredient, and that is the Spam. Now we got 25% less sodium, it's still really salty. A lot of people think we're joking when we say that we actually carry a lot of Spam on the boat, but it is a great thing to use because it has an infinite shelf life. And it's not all that gross. It gets a pretty bad rep, but it actually tastes really good. And if you add it into some dishes like eggs or pasta, macaroni and cheese, things like that, it can be really delicious. So what I do with it is I cut it into kind of cubes. And then I just add it directly to the olive oil and the onion. Spam, 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 spam. So fun fact about Spam. Spam was actually made famous by World War I when it was distributed to the troops as food because of its infinite shelf life. It was easy for them to bring around, and that's how it got kind of distributed throughout the world. It's used in Hawaii all the time now, but you might be wondering about its affiliation with spam emails, and that was actually brought about by the Monty Python sketch about spam. Back when instant messaging was brand new in the 90s, people were getting those messages that were just over and over again the same thing, and they thought it was so annoying. Well, they related it to that Monty Python sketch in which all the menu items included spam, and the person was listing off spam, 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 spam and eggs, eggs and spam, 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 eggs with spam, spam, and bacon with spam. And so these people just started calling these annoying messages they were receiving spam, and it caught on, and now even in Gmail they call it spam mail. And you have a spam filter. It has nothing to do with the negative connotations of spam. This is the biggest clove of garlic I have ever seen. Garlic. Our next ingredient is garlic, and you can choose how much garlic you want depending on how stinky you want to be for the rest of the day.
Now, an important thing with garlic, if one person eats a lot of garlic, both people eat a lot of garlic. And then you're fine. It's like, it's a truce. You both stink, and then you can't smell it on each other.
You can still smell it on each other. That's a lie.
So why are you using a paring knife to chop?
Because I don't want to dirty another knife. Okay, this is chopped up enough. Okay, we're adding our garlic to our pan, which is starting to look absolutely delicious. And now, this is the point when you're gonna actually start heating up the pan. You're gonna put it on a low heat just so that these things start to kind of simmer, the onions will start to get soft, and the Spam will start to turn more brownish, like a deeper color. Okay, so turn that heat down. So that's going to start getting warm and cooking up while you prepare the rest of your ingredients. And it's always good to cover it with some sort of lid. Our next ingredient might be a little surprising. It's an apple. And this adds kind of like a tart sweetness and a nice crunch to the dish. I'm going to dice the apple into bite-sized pieces.
Fun fact, apple seeds contain cyanide.
So for 2 people, half an apple is just fine.
Which means the other half of the apple is mine.
Alright, we've got our apple ready, but we're not going to add it yet. We're going to check on our sizzling creation over here. Just kind of mix it around a bit. It's starting to smell really good, and you can see like right here where the Spam is starting to turn more orange on sides. So we're, like there's a good example. So we're just going to kind of flip it, make sure it gets fully cooked. Spam is already cooked when you get it. You can actually eat it straight out of the can, but I think that's kind of gross. Okay, so at this point, now we're gonna add the eggs. So the first thing you need to do with the eggs is scramble them. Ooh, this egg is feathery. Okay, I don't like to scramble them very hard because I kind of like the runny yolks to remain a little bit. Now, once it's scrambled, we just pour it over your mixture of Spam, onions, and garlic. And this is when you add the apples. Oops. Okay, you kind of want to babysit it at this point because the eggs are going to start cooking really fast and you want them to cook evenly. So I'm just going to kind of turn them over with the spatula and break them up as much as possible because we're not making an omelet here. And this will mix your ingredients in and everything really well. The last thing I'm going to add is this ginger spice. Just a little touch of it. Mix that around, and we're almost done here. Whoops. And with that, we're pretty much complete. Now, this is not the most beautiful thing of things, but it tastes really good. So now I'm just gonna plate it. Now, one of my favorite things about this recipe is you can do so much with it. So I actually like to have it in wraps. I'll put it in some tortilla wraps and add some sour cream, and it makes a really delicious lunch. But for now, we're just gonna do it in its simplest form. It's almost ready to eat. The very last thing I like to add is some fire. This is Crystal hot sauce from Louisiana. It's my favorite hot sauce. And if you like spicy things, I highly recommend adding some hot sauce to this dish. It'll just bring it all together. If you don't like hot sauce, you don't like spicy things, it's really good to just add a little bit of pepper to yours. And that's what I'm gonna do for Herbie's because he's a wuss.
I don't like spice.
And the last step of any dish is to enjoy. Perfection.
So this dish is so good that on my birthday, while we were crossing the Atlantic, Maddie asked, what did I want for my birthday breakfast? And my immediate answer, with a lot of joy and excitement, was Spam and eggs. Because it's so good. So delicious.
If you have any favorite boat breakfast recipes, please let us know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And if you'd like to follow our journey in real time on a map, receive postcards from our ports of call, and message us directly to the boat, you can go ahead and become a patron using the link in the description down below.